All right, I'm going to call, excuse me, I'm going to call the City of Groton Mayor and Council meeting for Monday, May 15, 2017 to order. Clerk Patrick, please call the roll.
Present are Mayor Keith Hedrick, Councilors Jill Rusk, Jamal Beckford, Stephen Sheffield, Conrad Heed, Rashad Carter, Finance Director Ron Newhouse, Clerk Deborah Patrick. Excused is Deputy Mayor Lawrence Garish.
Okay, salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do we have any recognitions, awards, and memorials? Okay. I have two town police officers that I would like to recognize, Officer McCarthy and Officer DeBias, that were the, Officer McCarthy was the presiding officer in the traffic accident that I was involved in over by Pequannock Plains, and he was absolutely tremendous, very professional, and handled things very well. So I want to give credit where credit is due, and the town police did a great job on that, so thank you very much. Any other recognitions, awards, or memorials? Okay, receipt of citizens petitions and comments. We have one person who wants to speak that I see. Would you like to, when you come up, we'll give you 5 minutes. I need you to state your name and your address, please.
Gretchen Cipollini, 87.
It's working. Do you?
Oh, is
Yep,
it working?
it's working.
87 Phoenix Drive. Geez, I'm short. It's really short.
If you want to take it out of the.
Okay. Well, I
Can
need
you
my
help her?
hands
Thank you.
up.
There you go.
And I'd like to congratulate all of you who just got elected. I don't know who you are, but congratulations. And I come from the town, and I hope, I've been speaking with our new mayor, and I hope we get off to a better start than we have in the past. And this is a good thing to start on, what I'm going to be talking about. I don't know if you know, this is my first time before the city council, and I've lived here for 59 years. This is a project over by William Seeley School. And the Groton Utilities, you folks own a water tower that's right here. And that's this piece of property here. So the tower is about in this location. Anybody has questions, please ask. And can I just talk?
Sure.
I don't.
You got to be able to speak loud enough so that it's picked up on the microphone.
If you can't
So
hear
that-
me, just holler.
Well, it's not that. It has to be picked up on the microphone for the recording.
Oh.
That's why you need to speak into the microphone.
Oh.
Can you do
Tell
that?
me if it's not working.
Well, you have to speak into the microphone. Thank you.
Okay, so this is city utility property, and I've been working a long time. This is William Seeley School. This is property owned by me, and this is property owned by me. And I view this project as a investment potential in Groton to attract other investment. We need tax dollars. We all know this. And this is the biggest value diamond that I think we have in all of Groton, because it's right on 95. Here's 95. The bridge is over here. So it has incredible visibility off of 95. And I've been working with the council. We're trying to get them to hire a broker, the same broker I have. She wants to go out to Vegas to the ICSC, that's International Conference of Shopping Centers, to market all of this as a whole. It's a good shot for us, and it will help all of us, okay, to bring jobs, tax dollars, and to encourage future investment in Groton. Groton is getting very run down, and we need investment. So, pardon?
Go ahead, please.
So, I was driving by and saw that there was drilling equipment out there, and I found out through your utilities that you're looking to move this tower. And I would like to, I think you've done some planning work on this already, and I would like to ask the council to consider, and I guess I'll ask the Utilities Commission this too, that you hold off on putting it in a new location, which I think is right here. All these people are going to be viciously angry, I'll tell you that, they already are. And it's probably not the best and highest use of where to put the tower. What I'd like to talk about is possibly, if a developer takes over, he'll have to do a master plan, and that he may want to put it back here, and it could be used. You could make money off of selling advertisement on it for the center. It would be visible to 95,000 cars a day. You would get just as much utility out of it as before, and he could be more productive, the developer, and maybe putting more income-producing stuff in there so you can sell more utilities. The town will have more taxable property, and everybody would be a winner. So that we have a timing problem here, and we would like to, I think you should think about this, and I know 5 minutes is not enough to explain all of this, that you reconsider, that we just wait, and maybe the developer will find that is the best spot. Who knows? But you're getting ready to go out to contract for bid, I believe. Your mayor told me this, and I would think it would be very smart of us to just wait and see if this broker finds a developer. It's about 25 acres, all of it together, and it would be a real, it'd be modern, up to date, and we think we should give the developer a chance to do a master plan in place, and we all agree you need a tower. Nobody disagrees with that, but we want to optimize it for the use of the property, which optimize it for you selling more utilities, and the town getting more tax dollars, and everybody's a winner. So it's really just a timing problem here. So I appreciate your, and if you want me to come back for a committee of the whole meeting so we can talk a little more in detail. I wanted to bring the broker with me. She couldn't make it tonight, so we can do that. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cipollini.
Thank you.
Response to citizens' petitions or comments?
Can I just ask a question?
Please.
Thank you. So the William Seeley School area is owned by the town. Are they in
Correct.
agreement to sell that property?
Oh, yes, that's
Okay.
been quite a while. That's been empty since '08.
Okay.
But they've gone their own, I don't want to go through the history, that would take me an hour
No, I
to
don't.
explain. But yes, this is all unoccupied now. Mine and the property's unoccupied. The hotel, which is here, the broker that I have, she's talking to this property. It could even be bigger project than 25 acres. We're trying to put that all together. But as you know, it's not easy dealing with the town council. So this is, and I'm all with you, and I want to work with you a lot on all these issues.
Okay, Councilor Carter?
So,
Sure.
I know the town owns it, but I believe, actually almost certain that the Parks and Recreation, they run it. Is that correct? They have
No, the
programs
town-
there?
The town council controls it, and they have places in schools to move any parks and rec.
No, I'm talking about as far as the programs go. Because I know there's rec programs there. There's karate that they do karate there.
Yeah, but
Sure.
the town,
It-
they already had an option agreement on the property with a developer that lasted a year and it fell through.
Yeah.
So it's already been,
Yeah, I'm only asking you this because I didn't, as far as loopholes go through, is it a town thing that they would have to vote, or did they have to go through certain loopholes because they're Parks and Rec? I mean, they may show some resistance, but that may be the only
that's,
spot that they.
we're long past that point of the resistance. The
Okay.
town has places to move that
Yeah.
program, the program.
Yeah,
concerned
there is.
about.
And the other question, like, so what are your ideas? I know you only have 5 minutes, but what are your ideas to develop that area?
Well, I'm not the developer. The town wants to see mixed use. We have a lot of millennials coming in at EB, getting hired, and we don't have any entertainment here for people to stay. We got it, 60% of residents here leave every night and don't spend money in Groton. This is serious stuff. It's hurting us badly, our tax dollars. I mean, I've done all kinds of studies on this, and we're not retaining people to spend money here. So somebody your age, we want to keep you here at night and have you spend money here and enjoy it here and live here. And we have no housing that's partial towards the millennials. So a mixed use, which is a mixture of commercial and residential. And the closest one I can tell you is Blueback Square. This wouldn't be as large as that up in West Hartford. There's other one in North Kingston, Rhode Island on Route 1. It's very, very nice. I've brought several counselors up there. And, you know, they're like a Main Street, we're hoping we can get that, but we gotta get a developer. You gotta understand, people aren't falling all over to come to Groton. It's a tough place to attract people.
Councilor Beckford.
Right. What is the timetable for a broker master plan?
Broker does not do a master plan. A broker is strictly, and if you'd like to talk to her, she would love to come. She's coming tomorrow night to go before the town council. The broker doesn't do the master plan. It's the developer that she's gonna try to find who will do that master plan. Well, you gotta ask the town. They control a lot of this. They're trying, a big help would be to combine planning and zoning, and they're struggling with this immensely. I don't know why. We're the only town in Connecticut that doesn't have the two commissions combined. That slows things down a lot. So this is the town's doing. In my opinion, we should be much further along on this. And mistakes have been made by the town along the way here. And we hope we can get this project rolling. But I don't want to put up this water tower, plop in the middle of things, and then we limit the potential of this project, which is big for Groton, big. I mean, it not only what we can earn in income on this property, but it's the seed to begin other investment in Groton. It puts pressure on these centers downtown that are run down. They'll have to improve to compete, and it will uplift in every way.
Okay.
The town.
Any other questions or comments for the councilor? Councilor Heath?
Mine would be for actually Groton Utilities. Where would they want to have the water tower?
Understand. I was gonna ask Utility Director G'day, would you like to speak to this a little bit? Where we are and where we're going?
That project is currently with the town and getting its final permits. We're expecting that tank is going to go to final bidding about a month from now. It was designed on city property. And that property was designed to have two tanks. So the new tank would be built right next to it. You demo the old tank, and then out so many years you do it again and you move it back and forth. That's the design. The project was put in the books probably 10 years ago. It's about 5 or 6 years overdue to get it done. That tank is used for fire water protection for the subbase.
Okay. Any addition, Councilor Rusk?
What is the, what are the problems with keeping it longer than that? Like if we were to just say we're gonna hold it for, say, 5 more years, what are the complications due to that?
The problem with holding it, it may or may not be a problem. It's already a problem for fire water for the subbase. And that tank does fold into the build plan for the new water plant with the way we're going to be morphing the holding storage of all the online water out in the system as we transition from the small tank by the water plant to new tanks. So I'd have to get back to you on exactly the impact and if that'll delay the actual water plant build. It can't delay the water build plant. It can't do that. We'd have to come back to you on that exact answer.
You're saying it's already a problem for the sub-base. How is it already a problem for the sub-base for fire protection?
Just in having good fire water supply for the sub-base.
Okay, thank you.
And we already have some sunk costs in the project, is that correct?
We have the whole design done. We have the bid spec done. And we'll put all the time, effort, and everything into the planning and the permitting at this point. The exact number I'd have to get back to you what that is also.
So that would be lost. Plus, if there would be some additional costs associated with piping, and there is some grade differences on this side of the school, but that can be graded to meet that, because I had an opportunity to look at a topographical map, and that could be filled so that you get the same height.
I would guarantee you any developer would be willing to sit down with you and discuss your issues. But I also like to tell you that the benefit over the long haul, and that's what you should be concerned about, will greatly outweigh the planning that's been done now in my professional guessing. Okay. And I hope it's not gonna be 5 years, I hope, for all of our sakes,
Well,
okay?
currently, the council has this on their agenda for tomorrow. That,
Not the tower.
Oh,
They
the
know
tower.
No, no, no.
nothing about this.
no. They have,
No. They
Yes.
have on tomorrow night to decide if they're gonna go into contract with the same broker that I have. That's all tomorrow.
that's
night.
all they're gonna talk about, they're not
That's all
talking,
they're gonna talk about.
because that's not what the agenda, that's not what I read.
That's what they write, William Silly School.
Right.
That was not a plan, that's a special council meeting.
Right,
And it was from last week, they couldn't come to agreement.
Okay.
And they set tomorrow for just that purpose.
so at this point, the town council is no closer to a resolution or even hiring a broker than they were. You know, like Mr. Brady said, there was a project that lasted about a year and then it fell through for whatever reason, and we're about to get started all over again.
But Keith, they didn't listen to people,
Well,
okay?
I understand,
Mistakes
but
were made.
remember who you're talking to the city council. We're limited in what we have jurisdiction over. We have jurisdiction over the water tower, and that's all we have jurisdiction over.
But I don't view it that way at all.
Well, I understand, but the charter would be different.
Well,
So,
I think you gotta have the big, they're starting to listen to other people now, the
Okay.
council, because they made a big mistake, and I think they'll never admit it, but they realize it.
okay, any other councilors have any comments? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, approval of minutes. I need a motion for the April 17, 2017 special mayor and council public hearing meeting.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Need a motion for April 17, 2017 special committee of the whole meeting.
I so move.
Second.
We have a first and a second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Need a motion for April 17, 2017 mayor and council meeting.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? April 24th, 2017 special mayor and council meeting.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? April 24th, 2017 committee of the whole meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, we have a move, a move and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay. And the Mayor 8th, 2017 special mayor and council meeting.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion's carried. All right, communications and reports. Councilor Rusk.
Sorry. I attended the Beach and Park Committee meeting on May 10th. We did not have a quorum, but we did talk about the beach concession stand. I don't know if you are here to discuss that. Yes? Okay. So I'll let Mary Hill talk about what's going on with that.
Okay. Councilor Becker.
I have nothing to report.
Councilor Sheffield.
Yes, on May 4th, I attended the RTM meeting for the Groton City budget at the Groton Senior Center. I wanted to comment that Emily Mayer did stand up for the city as far as the police budget, and had hoped with the cuts that have been with the police budget that she recommended the town also take a cut, as well as the Groton Long Point along with us. So I'm not sure if there's any follow-up on what the town's decision on their police budget is so far, but we hope that they will join us with, like I said, with shared sacrifice for, for the budget. And I think
Yeah,
that's all.
the RTM did meet, and if I remember correctly, they cut the town police 1%. So
That's,
they did cut them.
that's a bit insufficient compared to us, so it's,
Okay, well, one thing that came out is that I guess last year, mid-year, there were, because they had an increase,
okay.
they went back to all the departments and they made cuts. So they did cut the town police mid-year
Okay.
last year.
Mid-year.
So we did not receive such an additional cut.
Okay.
But they did cut, right now it's at 1% for them. Counselor Reed?
No reports.
Counselor Carter?
Nothing to be good for.
Okay, let's see here. Let me go a couple things here. I've been to a couple tax incremental financing committee meetings. Attended the Economic Development Commission meeting on the 3rd of May, and there was a groundbreaking for Building 83, an electric boat, on the 4th. Also on the 4th, I attended a National Day of Prayer in the auditorium, and also attended the RTM meeting for the police that night. On the 10th, I attended the Thames River Heritage Park annual meeting at the Nautilus Museum, and then attended a Southeastern Connecticut Council of Governments Joint Services Study. They are looking at shared services that the municipalities are doing with other municipalities, and eventually they're going to look at regionalization of different services, but that's several months down the road. On the 12th, on May 12th, I attended the Connecticut Next Board for Cure. And Saturday, I helped replant some plants at the Bill Memorial Library. And I'll read this first and then let you go. We have a letter from Robert Garcia. It is a withdrawal of the lease request. He says, due to the untimely death of my wife, Patricia, I am requesting the lease of the Eastern Point Beach concession that we signed to be withdrawn. I would like to thank everyone for 35 years of being able to serve you and look forward to being able to enjoy your company as a beach patron. We issued bids, or actually, RFP, request for proposal, and the bids were due today by 2 o'clock. And we received one bid. Mary, would you like to talk to that?
Yes. So, as you heard, Bob Garcia has stepped away from the concession stand after 35 years. We did, on the 5th of May, put out an RFP to solicit interested parties to see if there was anybody there that out in the community that wanted to. We did reach out to 4 different, 2 individuals and 1 business, and then so we reached out to the Groton Public School Food Services via email, Bridge Market. We reached out by phone. Richard Post, who is a former employee in the Highway Department who showed interest in the past, and then Phil Barnett, which was a name that was given to us by Larry Garish. He's Bill Jervis's son-in-law who runs some businesses. And those were all via either email or phone calls from me the week that the proposal went out. We did have a walkthrough of the facility so people could see what the concession stand actually looks like inside and what we own as equipment, so they know what they were working for. And we only had the Groton Public School Food Services group show up. And then, like I said, like Keith said, the proposals were due today, and Ron informed me we received one. I don't know from whom, but we received one.
It was from the public schools.
So
you just have to go through the process and make sure everything's there.
Right.
And see what the proposal is, and then that'll come to you.
Yeah, we need to make sure that they're qualified and
Yep.
meet all the requirements before we come to us, and if they don't, we'll have to go out for a rebid.
Correct, and as you're aware, the timing is kind of a big issue with this, right. So that was kind of why we actually started this RFP process, unfortunately, before we even came to you, just because of that timing.
Right. Any questions, Representative, or excuse me, Councilor Carter?
So Mary, when we put out the contract, is that a yearly thing or is that something that's more? But say Groton Public Schools doesn't suffice.
right,
You know?
this RFP was just for 1 year.
Okay, all right.
Due to the timing. I mean,
Yeah, I got you.
we're kind of in crunch time right now. The
Yeah.
beach opens June
Yeah.
17th. which is kind of like a month away. So, but there are specific things. They have to have insurance. They have to be able to pay the rent. They have to be able to pay the utility. They have to supply us a menu of what they're going to do and kind of still keep it family friendly for what it is.
And the
Yep,
quality.
and that's all.
Staple point of.
Yes, and that's all included. What we asked for all that. It was a 4-page per RFP looking for information from them. And like I said, also giving them a tour of the facility so they know what they're working with.
Yeah.
So.
What's your as a director? What's your what's your gut feeling as far as getting these guys in here as opposed to extending it and say going a few weeks or a month without food or anything there? Like what's your?
I don't want to go without food. I'll flip hamburgers if I have to. I got my qualified food thing, so but I just we're interacting. I'd have to see what their proposal comes back as first. I'd have to see what that is. Knowing and interacting with some of the programs, they've catered events for us for Parks and Recreation special meetings. We've partaken in the Falcon Cafe that they have up the school. So there's a little bit of knowledge of what they're capable of. Like I said, I got to see what they propose to us and what they have in writing in regards to what they can bring to the table for us. I'd really hate to see it not happen because it is a big. I mean, Linda's getting that every night when she's selling beach passes. Who's going to run the concession stand?
That's a big thing.
Yeah, it is a big thing down there. So hopefully we open the packet tomorrow and it's in a good format.
This weekend.
And we can move forward with bringing something to you.
It's unfortunate that somebody on their side who. What was the lady's name? Passed away. I was aware that she passed away. I remember that. I remember
Matt
that.
Garcia.
It's just unfortunate that somebody on her team doesn't. I don't know if are they not willing to.
Well,
to help?
Bob was willing. He was willing to do. And I saw he came in a week before Pat had passed away, and I asked him. He goes, "No, I signed a contract." In all honesty, he hadn't signed the contract yet.
Yeah.
And when he found that out, he was a little relieved.
Yeah.
They've done a wonderful job down there for 35 years, and he would have given it his all. I think it would have been a struggle.
Yeah.
And not just because I don't think he could do it. He'd have to deal with, where's Pat? Everybody, everybody knows that Pat's passed away. Not all the, beach people are beach people. Sometimes you only see them June, July, and August.
Yeah.
So
I understand that. I totally understand. I'm talking about as far as the functionality part of it. And, the quality of meats, like everything should like.
Yeah,
the worst thing we would want is somebody to show up that hasn't been to the beach in 5 years and then come in and say, oh man, this isn't the way it used to be.
During the walkthrough, they took a picture of the menu. They took it with their phone so they could keep the same menu that is present. They may add some stuff. Like Pat was getting ready to add chicken sandwiches because she's looking at some healthier options. So they did take it, and it sounded like they were going to kind of keep the menu what it was, and Bob's willing to work with them with vendors that they used so they get the same product. So there's a collaboration with whoever comes in that Bob would work with.
Any other? Councilor Russ.
I just wanted to say thank you to the Garcia family for 35 years of service. That's amazing, and they've done a fantastic job. And thank you both for taking this on so quickly and getting something in place as quickly as possible. We really appreciate that.
Any other comments? Okay. One last thing I want to talk about. There's one of the things that I'm going to do is my goal is every time we have a mayor and council meeting is talk about the good things that we've done in the city. So I want to start this meeting with this. This month, through the efforts of Officer Lito, the police department started a youth cadet program in the police department. The program is for 8 to 12 graders and exposes them to various aspects of law enforcement to interest them in a career and to point out the need and importance of making good choices growing into adulthood. So that was started. We also had a successful presentation to the CT Next Board of Directors regarding Innovation Places, the grant that we're going after, including a walking tour of the city of New London and a boat ride on a water taxi. We've had an initiation of a partnership with Pfizer to open up exchange of information on volunteer opportunities for Pfizer employees with city projects and nonprofits via an online community bulletin board. An offer was extended to hire an economic development specialist to work with the EDC and planner to grow the city's economic development functions. We have started paving on the following streets Chicago, George, Tom, Fred, High, Sacred Heart Drive, and Triton. And then Friday, we got very good news. We received the news that we received a $15 million grant for the water treatment plant from the Department of Public Health. And Lori Matthews sent Rick Stevens a text that says, "Thanks for your work and effort over the years to move this project, the water treatment plant rebuild, forward. DPH is thrilled to be part of it and assist. Congratulations to you and all of your team, Lori." So if you remember, Rick and Ray Valentini were very involved in this, as well as others, but those were two of the lead guys that were working on getting this grant. So I want to make sure we recognize them. All right, let's see. Finance Director Uhas, do you have any report?
Nothing to report.
Clerk Deb Patrick, do you have any report?
Actually, I do.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I didn't forget you guys then.
I attended an executive board meeting
That's
for
true.
the Town Clerks Association, and I just wanted to tell you about some legislation.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the House bill for newspaper legal notices died in committee.
Okay,
So we're gonna still have all those legal notices until it can be reintroduced in the
Okay.
next session, which I've already reached out to Chris Conley and asked her if she and her colleagues would reintroduce it for next
Sure.
session. And the no excuse early voting had a split vote in committee, which essentially kills it as well, which is a good thing. We're in the Connecticut Town Clerks Association is in favor of early voting, but not the no excuse absentee voting.
okay,
The no excuse absentee voting would create a burden on the offices of the town clerks because they would suddenly be inundated with more requests than they're accustomed to.
okay,
And there would be no extra funding for it, so.
okay. All right, thank you. So another unfunded mandate.
Another unfunded, exactly, so
Okay.
I'm glad it died in committee.
All right, anyone else? Anything else? Okay,
Go
ahead.
Did we have the meeting, special Freeman's meeting minutes? Did we reference that in
I'm sorry?
our Freeman's meeting minutes? Did
No, we do those at the annual budget meeting.
Oh, okay, so we don't need to announce
We
those?
don't need those,
Okay,
no.
good.
Did I mistakenly put them in your packet? Oh, sorry about that.
okay,
I usually hold them back until they're needed.
okay. Are there any committee referrals? All right, with that, we'll start with new business. Councilor Russ, will you start with Resolution 17-5-82?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution R-17-5-82. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council reappoint the firm of Bircham, Moses and Devlin, PC, 75 Broad Street, Milford, Connecticut, as the City of Groton attorney to be effective upon passage. I so move.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? We currently have been using Bertram and Moses as our attorneys. There's a requirement in the charter that in our first meeting, we have to appoint an attorney, and so that's why we're doing this. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Councilor Buckley?
Yes. R-17-5-83. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council approve the reappointment of Paul Duart, 54 Cottage Street, Groton, Connecticut, as a regular member, Groton Utilities Commission, term to expire May 31st, 2021. I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Do we have any discussion? Just for the record, Paul has been a member for, he's been a member for a long time on the Utilities Commission, so he is a very valuable member. So is there any other discussion?
I'd like to thank Paul for, again, serving on this commission for another term.
Yes, absolutely.
He's a great servant for the city.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Councilor Sheffield?
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution R-17-5-84. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and city council approve the awarding of auditing services for fiscal year July 1, 2016 to June 30th, 2017 to RSM US LLP, formerly McGladrey and Pullen LLP, 157 Church Street, 11th floor, New Haven, Connecticut, to be paid from city electric and water general funds. I so move.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? This is the auditing firm that they are in their third year, is that right? Third year of a 5-year contract. So, but
Well,
it's
we
still,
did a proposal, so
Well,
we
you're
didn't
right.
enter the we kind of do a yearly contract, but we did a proposal for a 5-year fee structure.
okay. Any other comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Counselor Heed?
Let's see, resolution R-17-5-85. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council approve the City of Groton budget for the fiscal year 2017-2018 pursuant to the City of Groton Charter, Article 6, Section 2C. I so move.
Second.
Okay. Ron, do you have the information?
Yep.
What we're going to talk about tonight is the budget that we're going to present to the Freeman on the, where are we? 6th, what is it, 5th of June?
Yep.
Thank you.
Most of you have been through the individual, actually, I think all of you have sat through most of the individual department head meetings where they discuss their budget. I'm going to get Ron to go through the overall budget and walk you through it along with a couple options that we have for the budget that we present to the Freeman. Ron?
So in your binders, you have the proposed mayor, which was the original budget that was submitted by the mayor, and like as the new mayor said, gone through, sat down with all the departments, several meetings to come up with this. And that budget was for a total of $17,364,413, which left the mill rate at the same as it was last year at a 5.432. Since we had put this budget together, we've had some changes, which most of you are aware of, with the town and cuts that have taken place, and also with the assessments. So this handout, I believe I handed out at the committee of the whole last month. It's kind of just been updated a little bit, but it kind of walks through the same thing. The first piece of it is the highway budget, which we requested from the town, $2,029,000. That was cut by $65,756 to $1,963,000. That was based on the 3-and-3 committee, and that was agreed upon based on some information that happened in that meeting, and that's what the town council approved. The police budget, our original request was $2,417,000. That was reduced by the town council, which the RTM also went with the town council number by $173,475. So that left a couple of options with that, whether the city was gonna fund the town's portion and not maintain that 50-50 balance. Were we gonna cut the police budget by the 173, or were we gonna cut the entire budget by the 364,950, which would have maintained that 50-50 funding? So those are a couple of the options that came out of that. There was a decrease in the assessments from the original February 13th listing to the April 18th of $4,513,000. That's based on appeals that was probably took place based on the reval that we just had during the current year. And the other piece of that was, this kind of goes back to the highway. We had originally budgeted $400,000 based on previous years' cuts that the town has made to the city's funding. But based on that original first box up top that they only cut the $65,000, we can restore that $400,000. There's options for that if we use that $400,000 to fund the police and highway cuts, if we want to reduce property taxes, reduce the return from the electric division, increase the contingency for undesignated capital projects, or and just reduce the utilization of the general fund balance. So there was just some options that we had there. If you flip this page over, just wanted to kind of give you an example of what a mill means in tax dollars. So 1 mill based on the assessment is $1,168,175. which equates to $200 on a $200,000 of assessed property. So, and then it kind of goes all the way down to 3/4, a half, a quarter, and an eighth of a mil, just to give you kind of an idea what a cut would equate to. The next box goes through the history of the city mill. And as you can see, in 2013 it was a 4.595, 14 was the same, 15 went up to the 4.822, and in 2016 was the big year, which is when the town first did the cut, along with a decrease in property assessments from buildings being knocked down. And we had an increase in health insurance costs. It was kind of a perfect storm that year, which created the large increase. Last year, the mill was reduced to 5.432, which is the same as it was in the proposed 18 budget. Based on some discussions that we've had in the last couple weeks since the town finalized with the RTM, this is just a recommendation, obviously. This is your decision, this is your budget. What the recommendation going through would be to reduce the expenditures of the highway budget by $65,757, and then which would also decrease the town of Groton highway funding revenue stream by that $65,757, which would just offset itself. Decrease the police expenditures amount by the $173,475, and actually move that to a contingency account for the police. Therefore, it gets it out of the police budget, and that whole funding and returning to the town, it kind of takes that out of the equation, and it keeps it at the 50-50 funding level from the budgetary purpose. If for some reason the police need additional funding, that money will be there to transfer in. If not, we can figure out next year how we can return it back or do what we can with it. And then that would also reduce the town of Groton police funding, but again, by that $173,475. We would also add back, and this kind of goes based on that conversation that the town had, that $51,000 that was returned to the general fund of the city. We would actually use that and use that from use of fund balance of $51,000, which would increase the revenue stream by $51,000. So the net change with all these changes from the town would be a decrease of the expenditures of $465,757 and a decrease in revenue of $188,232, which results in a reduction in taxes to the $277,525. The one thing we also have to count is that assessment appeal change, which was the $20,000 in tax dollars, which would have a net reduction in taxes of $257,525, which would bring the mill down to 5.22, if that's the route they want to go. And just kind of a little bit more history. During the reval of the 2015-2016 grand list, and this is going to be before the BAA, I don't have an updated one after, the real estate for residential properties actually decreased 3.3%. The real estate for commercial was up 7.1%, and the real estate for industrial was up 1.2%. So that resulted in a real estate of a 0.2% increase. Personal property increased 6.1%, and motor vehicles 11.8%, which resulted in a 1.5% increase in assessments for just city property. So I just kind of wanted to break the levels of that out.
Could we get a copy of that?
Absolutely. Yep.
And remember, the town council, in the town, the overall grand list went down 1.9%. So ours actually went up. And part of that is because our residential went down a greater percentage, but we had more commercial and more industrial, and our commercial and industrial went up, and that offset the decrease, and that's why we were positive from that. Ron, please continue.
And just kind of one final point, in fiscal year 14-15, the tax dollars needed to balance the budget, kind of what we need for property taxes, was $6,192,000. In that 15-16 year where we had to increase to $830,000 plus, we had the loss of some other stuff, it actually increased to $6,957,000. This year, with these recommended proposed changes, it brings us down actually below the 14-15 fiscal budget with a 6,087,000 in taxes generated to balance the budget. So just to kind of give you an idea of the taxes where they've kind of gone up and down and where that brings us in relation to 14-15.
Not bad.
Okay, Councilor Russ?
First of all, I want to say thank you for all this. This is a lot of numbers to crunch
Yeah,
in.
you did.
I appreciate all your hard work.
Hopefully it
Um,
makes sense.
Chief Davern, would you be willing to give us an idea of what this decrease means? And what your thoughts are on that?
Yes, at the moment, the decrease means maintaining one position vacant for the year, and it also means a decrease in one vehicle purchased, one outfitted vehicle purchased.
Is that on the agenda for the?
Councilor
yes.
Sheffield?
Yeah, Chief, so we should be okay with with one officer down as far as staffing levels go and the vehicle.
Yes,
That's
we'll make an effort to live within our means.
Okay.
Yes.
Councilor Carter?
I just have a question, because the purchase of the vehicle is on the agenda for today, so we're not, are you saying that's not included in the budget, that new vehicle that's been on the table?
Councilor Russ?
I believe that's this year's budget
That's correct. This for this year's budget.
Yeah.
versus next year's.
What we're
This
doing
is-
is we're moving money. We're allowed to, by the general accepted accounting principles, move money within a department. So we are moving money within the department to make it so that we can buy a vehicle for this year.
Okay, I guess I just misunderstood that. I
No,
thought
it's
you said
okay.
that we
No,
weren't
that's-
having, that we weren't,
It
that's all.
it is easy to get confused over vehicle budgets, especially when we're talking about this year and next year.
Yep. I
But
got
what
it.
we'll do is we'll purchase a vehicle for this year.
Yep.
We won't purchase a vehicle for next year, and we'll see how that works out.
Oh, okay, I got it, just for next year, got it.
Counselor Heath? Oh, I'm sorry.
Joe.
Counselor
Question
Russ?
first. No, okay.
Counselor Heath?
I'm not exactly sure I'm following this.
Okay.
The town cut 173,475. What we're proposing is that we will cut that amount from the total police budget, but not cut our half of it, 173,475. But instead of changing it, so we don't want to change the 50/50, so we put that amount in contingency. Is that correct?
That's right.
Correct. Yeah, we're taking and we're reducing the police budget by
Only by the
the
town
town's
position.
cut, that 173, and just moving it into a contingency.
Right.
And that's where the chief was saying that they're gonna hopefully be able to live within their means and keep it
Right.
below, with the new budget amount. However, that 173, if for some reason it can't be done, is still.
Okay.
We're not proposing that we match the cut,
Mhm.
because that is an option that we could do. We're not proposing that at all. We're proposing that.
And we're not
we-
proposing to cover the town's
That is
portion.
Did that answer your question?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Any other questions or comments, Councilor Beckford?
I'm fine.
Councilor Sheffield? Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
Any other comments?
Chief, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Let's see, where are we? Counselor, that's to you, right?
No.
No, it's to Carter, sorry, Counselor Carter.
Our resolution R-17-5-86. There be resolved that the mayor and council authorize Groton Utilities Management to issue a purchase order to Shaker Family Ford Lincoln, 83 Trades Turnpike, Waterford, Connecticut, for the purchase of one 2017 Ford F-450 four-wheel drive Super Cab pickup truck in the quartered amount of $56,609.00 to be paid from the funds available in the approved fiscal year 2017 Water Division non-bonded capital funds. I so move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, Counselor Rusk.
Thank you. Resolution R-17-5-87. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize Groton Utilities Management to issue a purchase order to Nutmeg International Truck, 6 New Park Avenue, Franklin, Connecticut, for the purchase of one 2018 International dump truck in the quoted amount of $107,394.00 to be paid from funds available in the approved fiscal year 2017 Water Division non-bonded capital funds. I so move.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ron?
I just want to kind of walk through it, just to make sure everybody understands too. What's coming out of the Water Division non-bonded capital is the $107,394. The vehicle purchase price is $118,144, and there's a trade-in of $12,000. So that's where the two funding sources are coming from.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure that everybody, that the vehicle, so it's really not a vehicle of $107,394. It's a vehicle of $118,144.
Okay. Councilor Heed?
This isn't a dump truck, is it?
Yes, it's a
You
dump
didn't
truck.
set it, don't you?
Oh, okay.
Dump truck.
Any other comments? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Whoops, sorry. Opposed? Habit.
I know I don't have-
Extensions. Okay. Now, where are we? Councilor Beckford?
Resolution R-17-5-88. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council accept donations. I so move.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Councilor Rusk?
So, there's been a lot of discussion on the Mother Bailey house. I know this isn't a lot of money. I don't know where it's going for beautification. I don't know, like, what does
This
this
is-
donation mean?
This is a line item. It'll get set aside. We will, one of the things that this council will resolve in the next 2 years, sooner, but in the next 2 years, is the disposition of the Mother Bailey House and the Cardinal Electric School. We are going to get resolution on it. We will probably need to, not probably, we will need to bring this up at a committee of the whole, so that we can continue to discuss it and look at where our options are, what we've done thus far, what money is set aside, and what are our funding options. If you remember, to the council, we went for the HIP tag grant. We were unsuccessful with the HIP tag grant. It was important that we got the HIP tag grant in order to do the assessments so that we go after another grant. Right now, we currently have no grant funding available for the Mother Bailey House, and the city does not have any money for the Mother Bailey House. We have done some improvements, we've done some stabilization on the front part of the Mother Bailey House, and so we will be talking more about this during a future committee of the whole. Does that answer your question?
I'm afraid of taking this money and having expectations tied to it. Are there any expectations tied to this money? I don't want to accept this money with the understanding that we are doing anything specific with it.
And where this came from was the royalties from the Ghost Tour book and the Mother Bailey portion. So that's kind of where it came from. I know what your concern is. I see what you're saying. If that money's set aside and we do something with it, where does it go?
Right. And I never want to say no to donations, and thank you for donating the money. That's huge. But I just don't want to be.
Absolutely. The acceptance of this money does not obligate this council to a specific action. We still have to look at the Mother Bailey House properly, go through the options and the adjudication. We'll have to get Barbara here. We'll go through. There were recommendations that came from the Mother Bailey House Committee, and we need to, in a near committee of the whole, we will talk about this at length. So it may take us a couple meetings to go through it, because you're right, it has been lingering there, and it's out there, and we do need to make a decision on it.
And I would just
Councilor
like
Sheffield.
thank Hallie Keeler for
Keeler.
her donation.
Absolutely. Any other comments? Okay, with that, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
Abstentions, okay. Councilor Russ abstains. Okay, Councilor Sheffield?
Resolution R-17-5-89.
Oh, wait, did I skip you?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
He did the note, yeah. He
I'm
did.
sorry.
Okay,
No.
so I'm, okay,
Yeah, we're good.
thank you.
Steve's gonna take this one for the team.
R-17-5-89. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize and approve the purchase of one 2017 Ford Utility Interceptor from Natick Auto Sales Incorporated, DBA MHQ, 401 Elm Street, Marlborough, Massachusetts, and computer systems and caging for a total cost not to exceed $41,000 and no cents to be paid from the 2017 police operating budget. I so move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, correction, Ron?
We kind of touched base a little bit about this, but we just wanted to kind of make it clear as to, with the budget, when it goes to the Freeman, it's based on a department level. So that's why this year, the police feel that there's going to be, we're kind of looking and projecting out that there's going to be money left in this year's budget, which would allow them to buy this vehicle. These monies were budgeted. It could be in the personnel line. It could be in another material line and supply line that they anticipated buying material that they're not going to buy. So they looked at their budget in total, and they're going to do an interdepartmental transfer of kind of their budget line items and move it to the capital line, and which will allow them to purchase this vehicle in this fiscal year.
And that is a general accepted accounting practice.
Right, because
Practice.
if there was a transfer that went from one department to another, that would have to come back for your approval to transfer that money from one, like I said, one budget department to another. But this is all internal to one department.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, with that, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Counselor Heath?
I stand corrected, I'm taking one.
Yes, you are.
Good job.
R-17-5-90, therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council provisionally authorize and approve the contract with Charles Pasteryak Jr. Incorporated, 20 Burnham Highway, Lisbon, Connecticut, for bituminous concrete pavement and milling as required of Tom Street, George Avenue, West Street, Sacred Heart Drive, School Street, Chicago Avenue, Greenview Road, High Street, and Joe Avenue, as outlined in the fiscal year 2017 capital improvement program, for the quoted price of $470,293 and no cents to be paid from previously approved Town of Groton bond funds. I so move.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? This is, this is a housekeeping measure. This is not coming from, did we miss something?
I think we got two different type of resolved in
Okay.
the
I
motion.
think you've got, do you have the old one?
I forgot. I have a
15,
mixture.
17?
The therefore be resolved is different than the resolution.
You have the old one?
Stay
515?
on the front.
Did you not get the
I
revised?
Stay on
I
the
got,
front.
Is this revised?
I got the 206.
Is this
Stay on the
revised?
front.
Nope, you gotta have the
Oh, the
revised.
revised? Okay.
The posted one.
Oh,
There you go.
Okay.
Does everyone have the revised?
Okay.
Because that's why we revised it, is
Okay.
that the resolution on the top did not match the resolution on the bottom.
I know I
Did,
missed
now, did
them.
we get, you think we missed a line?
I think we
may have
did miss a
line.
line.
Okay,
I think we're
Representative-
at the 470,293 and no cents.
okay, let me go back. Counselor Heed, will you reread
Okay, yes.
the
you're correct.
resolution? Well, that should get it, right? Okay, please.
So therefore, thanks.
Okay.
One more time.
Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council provisionally authorize and approve the contract with Charles Pasteryak Jr. Incorporated, 20 Burnham Highway, Lisbon,
North Burnham.
North Burnham Highway, Lisbon, Connecticut, for bituminous concrete pavement and milling is required of Tom Street, George Avenue, West Street, Sacred Heart Drive, School Street, Chicago Avenue, Greenview Road, High Street, and Joe Avenue, as outlined in the fiscal year 2017 capital improvement program, for the quoted price of $470,293 and no cents, and an additional contingency for a total expenditure not to exceed $517,322.30 to be paid from previously approved Town of Groton bond funds. I so move.
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded. Any discussion? Like I said before, this is basically a housekeeping measure. It's the first time that we've met since the last mayor and council meeting. That's why some of the paving has already started. This came from the bond fund. Remember, there was a 5-year bond fund that the town went out for town roads and for city roads. And we are in our 5th year, and these roads are currently in progress.
Yeah. That's what I had a question.
Councilor Carter.
I'm all set, I asked.
Okay.
Jamal.
Ron? Oh,
Jamal had a question for you.
okay. Councilor Beckford.
I was just curious about how we chose the roads. Is there like an evaluation done?
Yeah, Tim went through it in the very beginning when we did the 5-year plan. There was a list of roads submitted by year by this public works director and by that public works director. So Tim Umris and Gary Snyder. The roads there is a paving index that is put out, and it gives you, the index is based on the condition of the road, so that if it falls within a certain band, then you can mill and overlay. If it goes below that band, which is what happened to Thames Street, you can no longer mill and overlay. You have to do full depth reconstruction. And so that's what these roads were based on.
Gotcha.
And this is something that a few months back, we do go to the town council and actually go through the roads that we're gonna pave with our estimated dollar amounts, and they approve them as well.
Right.
So the kind of is just like the mayor was saying, it's a flow through. The work gets done, the invoice comes here, we then approve it, but then forward it over to the town, and then the town actually is the one who cuts the check and pays it from and uses that bond fund money.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries. All right, with that, we're going to go into executive session pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes 1-200-6A to discuss personnel, to include the city attorney, the police chief, and the deputy police chief. Do we need,
I need motions, please.
I so move.
Second.
okay? We don't need anybody else, right? Just you three? Okay? All right, so
All in favor?
Moves.
all in favor? Say aye. Sorry? You're right. All in favor, say aye. Okay, opposed? Abstentions? We're now going to executive session. We will, when we come out of
Have
executive,
business.
we will have business when we come out of executive session. Okay, Counselor Carter, wait. We came out of executive session at 9:13,
Okay.
so,
Now we need
We need
to amend the agenda.
okay, you're right.
So I
We need to
a
amend the
motion.
agenda to, let's see it real quick. We need to amend the agenda to add resolution R-17-5-91, which is a resolution that the mayor and council approve the appointment of Michael Galat as acting.
We need a motion to amend the
So
agenda.
moved.
Oh, that's all we have to do?
I move we
Okay.
amend the agenda to add a new resolution.
Okay.
Second.
And the resolution number is?
R-17-5-91.
Okay. and
So that's all we
and
have
now-
to-
Yeah, and then somebody will read the.
Okay, now, well, I was just gonna read the top. Okay,
So we already said the resolution. There it be resolved that mayor and council approve the appointment of Michael Galat as acting police chief for the city of Groton effective June 1st, 2017. I dare so move.
Second.
okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Abstentions? Correction. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Let me double check. We have no other business.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're adjourned.